Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we've made this monstrosity with the purpose being to hopefully be able to get ourselves this moon flyby. Getting ourselves going off the ground a little bit faster will make things hopefully a lot better. Yeah, this is going to be 2.98 thrust to weight. I'm a little bit concerned about controlling this thing on the way up. The Delta Deluxe winglets should help that in theory, and we shouldn't have the offset thrust. But we're going to have some very interesting things happening in this flight, I suspect. Let's see how this goes. This is going to be an unmanned flyby past the moon. We just don't quite have what we need to get the manned stuff there yet. We're very, very close on that. But I do want to get just a little bit more, well, efficiency in a fair amount of things. So we're going to do this, and we're going to return this as well. We hope. But we're going to do that entirely without maneuvers. This is going to be interesting. SAS on. Throttle up. Are we going to go straight up until these are burned out? Oh yeah, 9 seconds? I think so. So then we'll ditch those. Yep, this seems okay. I'm just double checking our staging here. Yes, that looks right. Okay, fingers crossed. Off we go. SRBs are definitely giving us a good boost off the pad. 2, 1, 0. SRBs are gone. And we're going to start heading on over here. We are very stable right now. So we're definitely having a hard time getting some horizontal speed. But being stable is not a bad thing. Being stable is actually a good thing. So we're going to head on over here. That is incredibly stable. Perhaps too stable. But it looks reasonably fine for now. We've got about another minute here. Hopefully we didn't bomb the pad too badly there. We've got about another minute here before we have our main stage burnout. And at this point, I'm more interested in bringing us back to the 90-degree heading. We've drifted off of it slightly. So I'm not trying to pull us over any further right now. We're at about 30 kilometers apoapsis. 90-degree heading is looking reasonably solid. And we're just holding here for the moment. Now, I do expect to be pulled further towards the horizon. That's okay. So far, this is working quite well. 25 seconds remain here. And we are currently at about 60 kilometers. Yep, that seems okay. 70. And 80 kilometers. We're targeting 85 here. So I turned our engine off there, and we're going to coast up towards space a bit. Cool. We've still got 408 meters per second in this stage. So that was a huge gain, actually. Just putting those SRBs in there gained us a lot. And that's exactly what I expected. So that's looking very, very solid. I think we'll start our circularization burn, what, at like 80 kilometers? How are we doing in terms of horizontal speed? We do need a lot. Well, let's start it at 70 when we're at peak efficiency here, and we'll just see how that ends up going. So we're going to rotate on over to here to the horizon, and we'll park here. Cool. And we're going to start this burn up soon. We'll keep an eye on our apoapsis. This is not going to be the exact time for the apoapsis. So once that 88 kilometers. Okay. Let's take this up to 78. We're going to coast for a little while longer. We're just going purely by gut. We've got plenty of Delta V to make this happen. No doubt about that. And I do want to commence this burn again, and I want to extend this antenna. There we go. And we ditch that, and we get our circularization underway. Cool. So we do need a fair amount of speed here to circularize. I'm just watching that apoapsis number there. It seems reasonably okay for the moment with this thrust to weight. 93 kilometers. 94. Yeah, we still seem to be okay. What I'm trying to do is keep us within 10 kilometers of the apoapsis here. That's the goal. So we're kind of targeting 100 kilometers at this moment, it seems like. Yeah, that seems reasonably fine. So let's take this up to 100 kilometers. There we go. And we do still need a little bit of additional horizontal speed, but we'll coast this up to, like, I don't know, 99 kilometers. That seems reasonable to me. 97, 98, 99, somewhere in there. So this is about 99 kilometers. And we'll just get that last little bit of burn, pushing our periapsis up. We don't need much more speed here. Cool. And there we go. We are raising our periapsis now. Okay. Our apoapsis is a little up there. We need to coast a little bit further forward. So it's 110 right now. So we'll just coast here for a bit. We're currently at 104. We'll coast a bit faster. 105, 106, 107. We're not under acceleration. So 108. And once we hit 109 is when we will start this. So let's get in position for that burn. And we're not quite there yet. You know what? This is probably close enough. Nope, it is not close enough. So we're just going to continue to head on up here. 109, 110. We're just trying to circularize this right now. This would be a lot easier with maneuver nodes, of course. But we're just doing this entirely by gut. Man, that's so early. Okay, this is close enough. We're fairly close to circularized here. So, what do we do now? Well, we need to warp for a while. The moon is over here. We're looking for a moon flyby, right? So we need to warp until the moon is coming out from behind Kerbin here. That's going to be the rule of thumb. So, I'm going to re-angle us here. Because when we see that, we need to start our burn. So once we see the moon peeking out over here, which should be fairly soon. In theory, there it is. And we commence our burn. Okay. So we don't have patched conics. So we'll see how this goes. Are we even going to see if we have an encounter? I don't know if we're going to see if we have an encounter. It's going to be interesting for sure. I think we'll get one. And then, of course, returning to Kerbin is going to be very interesting. We're going to need to burn a lot of fuel in our braking burn, but that's to be expected. But not having maneuver nodes makes this very, very interesting indeed. We have completed our world first milestone, breaking the speed record of 2,500 meters per second. So that gives us some cash, which is nice. We definitely need cash. And this is probably approximately right for an encounter. Approximately. Okay. So now the question is this actually an encounter? I don't know. We'll find out. We can't, like, warp to any particular location, which is wild. So we're just going to have to regular warp. In space high over Kerbin's water. Okay, so we're going to grab our temperature scan and our atmospheric pressure scan. That'll give us some scientific data there. And we will collect those here. Both of these are reusable experiments. So we'll get some data there. We're definitely in space high. Does this give us an encounter? And as a follow-up question, What kind of encounter does it give us? I have no idea. We're going to warp on out here. It looks like it's going to be fairly close. We might be slightly early. Oh, are we loading in? I think we're loading in. This is an encounter here. Okay, we are on an impact trajectory. So we're going to want to burn, I think, this direction? This radial? Yes. Let's not be on an impact trajectory. Thank you very much. And as far as where this is going to take us, I don't know. But this is an encounter over the moon. Fantastic. We'll keep this experiment and this experiment as well. And we will collect all of that data. Then we're going to continue warping on forward here. We're no longer on an impact trajectory. Are we going to hit in space low over the moon? Our periapsis is 67 kilometers. I think that means no. We do have the fuel to enter orbit here if we wanted to. Indeed we do. However, why do we not have control right now? We have electric charge, we have a connection, but I'm not actually able to turn us right now. There's like some sort of an input blocker on right now. What input blocker would that be? We have a connection. That's okay. We're just going to warp on through here. Was I still in time warp? That was what it was. I'm dumb. I was in time warp. Okay. That's fine. We're going to continue to warp on through. We're in space high over the moon. And we're not going to get in space low, which is fine. Now the question is, now that we've gotten our flyby, what are we going to get in terms of our return trajectory? There's our contract parameter complete. That gave us a lot of cash. So that's very good. And we've initiated the first flyby and escaped the gravitational influence of Kerbin, also giving us a good amount of cash there. So we're just going to continue to warp here. And the question is, where is this going to put us on our return trip to Kerbin? Like, what is our... Okay. I see. We have 1,800 meters per second. So I think we go to our periapsis here, which looks like is going to be about 4,000 kilometers. And then we burn retrograde there. So 5,000 kilometers. And we're almost to our periapsis here. 4.29. This is probably close enough, realistically. So let's commence a burn here. And just drop this right on down. We're watching this apoapsis. Let's take that, ideally, to around 100 kilometers. We've got plenty of delta V to do this fairly safely. So we'll bring that guy right on down. Excellent. We've still got another 1,300 meters per second here. And that's looking a lot better. We'll bring it to about there. Cool. I don't know why... Oh, this is 79 kilometers. That's actually kind of perfect. That's kind of where I want to be. So now we're going to need to warp until we reach this next periapsis, right? So we're going to want to continue to warp here. We can't warp to any particular point. Okay, we're definitely speeding up here. No doubt about that. 79 kilometers. We're currently at 200. 100. And we're going to bring this on down. Position ourselves retrograde. Orbital retrograde. Beautiful. And we'll commence this burn at 79-ish kilometers. So, like, probably more like 82. 85, 84, 83, and we'll call this good enough. And we'll commence our braking burn. Beautiful. We're bringing our apoapsis down at this point to being somewhere around 40 kilometers. We're playing it safe. So apoapsis to 40 kilometers is the idea here. 700, 600, 500, 400, 300, 200, 100 almost. Okay, now this is a periapsis. Yeah, that makes sense. That's 14 kilometers. Okay. Sure. That'll do for now. We'll do a re-entry burn here. And burn off any of that excess speed. We do have our drogue chutes and our main chutes, and in theory, I mean, we don't have a heat shield here. But we'll burn off this speed once we can. So we're going to hop down into the atmosphere here. And we also escape the gravitational influence of the moon. At this point, even if we fail this mission, we've made so much money off of it that it's fine. The question is, when are we going to perform our re-entry burn here? I think the answer is after our periapsis is negative, for sure. Definitely a little wacky on our inclination, but that's okay. And hopefully we have low enough mass and high enough drag to make this happen, but our drag is not going to be anywhere near on the level of having a heat shield, right? So we'll see what we can get here. We're just physics warping our way through for the time being. Okay, that's very sensitive. Okay, noted. Probably don't want to physics warp that for too much longer. Periapsis is still at about 10 kilometers. Will take us out of physics warp at the moment. We're still quite high up here. So I don't think we want to do a re-entry burn anytime soon. Not until we're at least at like 45 kilometers. Our entry burn is definitely getting less efficient, and I'm aware of that. Now that we've got these heating effects, we'll position on surface retrograde. There we go. And we are slowing down. That's a very good sign that we're already slowing down. Okay, so I think we're good here. We do have 370 meters per second that we can slow down by, which will be very helpful, I'm sure, at a certain point. The question is which point? Which point do we want to do that? I'm leaning towards about now, actually. I think that this is a good time for the re-entry burn. So we'll go ahead and do that. Slowing ourselves down by about that 370 meters per second, plus a little bit extra from the drag. And this will also lower our mass. Cool. We don't have anything to detach here, of course. But that puts us at 1,700 meters per second and slowing. Yeah, this is looking solid. I like it. This went really well. Our Communitron was broken. Okay, sure. That's fine. We may lose our solar panels as well. Hello, Moon. We were just there. Excellent. I do enjoy doing these no-maneuver moon runs. It would get really complicated if we were looking to do other no-maneuver runs. But Moon is easy enough. Moon is easy enough. So we're continuing to slow down here. Not quite as quickly as I would like to see, but we're still quite high up. And we have a lot of horizontal speed, right? So in theory, we should be okay. I hope. We're continuing to slow down here. 31 kilometers up now. 1,600 meters per second is our speed. So we need to slow down by about another kilometer per second before our drogues can be deployed. 1,500 meters per second is our current speed. And we're definitely slowing down relatively quickly. Not necessarily as quickly as I'd like, but we can see that G-force number creeping on up, which is a good sign. A little bit shocking that we're not seeing heat gauges on, like, the Pug here. That does surprise me a little bit. But we're now down to 1 kilometer per second. And it looks good. Drogues will be deployable shortly. And there go the drogues. We're now officially completely safe. Mains are now deployable. And let's go. Excellent. That went perfectly, actually. Let's get rid of our SAS. We don't need to have that on. Yeah, that went absolutely perfectly. I couldn't have hoped for that mission to go better. The only thing that we could have done better is dip into the low moon for the science there, but we're going to grab that science with a more comprehensive science kit soon anyway. So I think that's completely fine. I'm very pleased with that. So that completes our contract for exploring the moon, which we are allowed to take, of course. The question is, what's the next exploration contract? Docking, I think, if I recall correctly. Well, we'll see. We're mostly using those... Oh, wow, 3 meters per second. Well, this is going to take a bit to get down to the surface. Good thing we're in physics warp. The main thing that we're using those exploration missions for is, like, one-time boosts to our finances, right? That's the primary purpose behind them. So, yeah, I think that this went incredibly well. Incredibly well. Do we have the power at this moment to lift our manned flight into moon flybys? Almost is the answer. Almost. Upgrading our launch pad would go a long ways towards that. But we have a lot of upgrades that we need to do. No doubt about that one. We'll need to complete a number more contracts, I think, before we're really ready to get going on a lot of this stuff. So that's fine. Down we go, and we'll be splashing down eventually. We're traveling at 3 meters per second. It's definitely overkill on the parachute front, but that's okay. And there's our splashdown. Beautiful. So we did lose our antenna, but that was honestly expected. I should have retracted that. If I had retracted it, if this can be retracted. I'm not sure if it can or not, but if I had retracted it, it definitely wouldn't have broken. But we'll recover that, and that's absolutely great. So how much science are we actually going to get from that? A fair amount, actually, is the answer. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of our science equipment on it, but that's okay. We don't need it. Because we're going to get a lot of just raw science, right? From the contract, from all of this, and also from recovering all of that, but from recovering a craft that returned from the moon. We have 151.5 science, and that actually gave us 600,000 in terms of our cash. That's a lot. That's more than I expected. This is going to be enter orbit of the moon. Easy. We definitely grab that. And with this cash, we upgrade our launch pad to level 2. We're now much less constrained in terms of parts numbers. We can now have much higher weight and size, so that's great. We can also afford at this point to upgrade our tracking station and our mission control. All of that gives us access to, well, maneuvers and being able to do almost anything we want at this point. Those upgrades were the core ones that we needed. We've also got the ability to grab some extra things here. I would very much like to grab the Terrier. The Terrier is going to be very useful as a gimbaling engine that is usable in vacuum efficiently. So we grab that. What else do we grab? Struts. 100% struts. And crew cabins. That would be useful too. There we go. And then we've got this aviation here. We could grab that. And I think we may as well. We'll just get that completed before we move on to this tier. Excellent. And with that, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to send a science gathering mission to the moon to enter orbit of the moon. And we are going to grab just a ludicrous amount of science from that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadowwolf, Emlohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kintogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Anna the Elephant, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.